welcome to the Improv Summit. As always, I'm your host, Spencer, and with me today I have a very special guest. Now, I always have a very special guest, and I do truly mean that every time, but for the purposes of changing it up, I'm going to introduce this person with their name, the first letter of their name, put it into an adjective, and call it. So today, with me, I have none other than Bouncing Benjamin. How's it going?
I'm doing great. It's usually boisterous, but I'll accept bouncing in this case.
Okay.
It's early,
Great.
so I might not be as flexible as I usually am, but I'm going to accept this.
I'll be honest, I'm never flexible. When I teach kids, they're like, "Can you do a somersault? Or they're like, "Can you do this?" And they do like a double backhand spring, and I'm like, "Do you know how old I am? Like, do you think I can feasibly do that?"
I thought you meant
a somersault. No.
I thought you meant inflexible, as in like going off the syllabus where they ask if you could do a different warm up exercise, and you're like, "No, it's written this way for a reason, and we're not going off book."
I have to teach you zip zap zap. It's the most important game of improv.
This is improv. We have a very strict set of rules. You cannot go off book,
and you cannot break them.
Yeah,
ever. You have to stick with this. Yeah, that's funny. Let's dive in though, shall we?
Sure.
Everyone knows enough about me, and they've heard the same stories over and over because I feel like I want to tell these stories as if they've never been told. But it's not about me; it's about you. So let's talk about you and your improv experience. Whatever that means to you. What is your background in improv?
Well, anytime I'm asked this, Spencer, I always have to pull up like an improv resume I've had to write up because as time goes on, I always think like, well, I've probably been doing improv for 5 years. And then at some point I'm just like, I've probably been doing improv longer than 5 years. But 5 years sounds good. But I looked it up and it looks like I became an alumni of IO West in 2010. So it looks like I've been doing this for 11 years. And feels like I should probably be better than I am, but I feel like I'm probably right where I'm supposed to be. So
yeah, I graduated from IO like 6 months before they closed.
You closed it. It's your fault.
No, 6 months before. There were other classes.
That's right.
Me.
They had another round of class. There's still technically a round of classes going on. There's people that didn't get their credits back. So so iOS was my first experience with like formal improv as like a theatrical staged art form. Obviously, like many of the people that you've spoken to and many of the people that do this thing, we probably all started in a similar fashion, like making stuff up and goofing around with our friends. Not everybody was like an attention monger like maybe I was growing up in school. I went through various phases of figuring out like how to get the most attention. Some of it manifested in like becoming a not a great student. And that sort of fluctuated between like being in accelerated classes and being quote unquote gifted to being like a very challenging student, barely passing classes and things. So I've had a lot of different talks with different teachers, some encouraging and some not as encouraging over the years to figure out where I fit in. But I usually ended up figuring out how to make people laugh. And when I was successful, it felt great. When I was unsuccessful, I just moved on, forgot it even happened. A lot like probably some of the best and worst improv sets where, hey, when they feel good, they feel great. And when they're bad, forget all about them. Good thing this thing doesn't get taped and doesn't get put out on the internet, and we can just move on. So that's basically my formal and informal journey of improv. And, I'm from the Midwest, so I had heard about like Second City in Chicago and all that stuff, but I never studied there and I never had a chance to even experience it until well after I started doing improv out here in LA, which is sort of like the backwards journey of a lot of people. A lot of people go to Chicago because it's supposed to be like a Mecca or whatever, when it comes to, where the greatest study is. And I just missed that boat. I was too late for that.
Yeah, it's true. I also was thinking about like the bad ones, just like forget about it. I'm like, those are the ones that I consistently remember, and also the good ones. But also then I realized that most of the time I just forget. Like I'm one of those people, like if I'm doing a Herald and I'm the character you want to call back for like the second beat or the third beat, I literally have to go, you have to tell me what I did, because I don't even remember what my character was from like 8 minutes ago. I'm like, once you like prompt me and like give me an idea of what you want from me, because sometimes people are like, oh wow, look at this bank, and I'm just like, how do I react? What does this character do with the bank? I don't like, what am I supposed to do? And I'll be like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. No, it's not. Oh, rough. I don't know. And then I just like, I'm like, I don't know. Anyway, but I think that's a big thing is like, luckily with improv, like you said, the exciting thing about it is that it is like this intimate thing that you see and then you never see it again. I mean, now with Zoom improv, there's a lot of recorded improv, and so you can like watch it over. I've learned it's really weird watching improv over because it's clearly not in the moment. You're watching what people did in the moment, and in that moment, it was so exciting, and then you watch it back, and you're like, "Well, I don't know if I." Wow, my choices. But then that's why I don't ever want to look at it again because I don't need to worry about what choices I just did.
Yeah, trying to analyze your improv back is really challenging because so much of it has to do with the environment that you're in. And, if you watch enough shows, you start to realize that like the laughs come from the audience based on, the environment that you've already established. The host could have done something. A lot of stuff becomes out of context, callbacks and all these things to even sets prior. It's like an inside joke with the audience where you had to be there. Almost never makes more sense than with improv where, even the good sets, they're so hard to explain. Oh my gosh, I had such a great show. I was doing this thing where I was a fireman and I was like trying to climb the pole and everyone was laughing. It was so funny. And it's like, well, that doesn't sound funny at all. And it probably truthfully wasn't, but in the moment it was hilarious to at least the people who were watching, or at least the feedback that you were getting was people were laughing, I think. It's easier to explain the bad ones, I think, because, when you say like, I came out and I called you grandma, remember when I called you grandma? And you're like, yeah, but I wasn't grandma. And it's like, yeah, I know that was pretty bad of me because I probably wasn't paying attention. I just saw what you were doing on stage and it looked like a lot of fun. And I wanted to be out there having fun with you. And that's usually the recipe for a disaster when it comes to watching it. But it's a lot of fun on stage, I think. But yeah,
for sure. Yeah, that's great. I also think you brought up something that is actually interesting is the idea of like, oops, I made an oopsies as far as like the label, but I was so excited about your scene that I wanted to jump in and support you. And I think that's something that isn't ever explored. And I actually really like that you brought it and phrased it in that way, because improv is literally a team sport, but it is something that requires a lot of support. And I know that in that moment, like that would be something where I'm like, oh, that's okay, totally fine. Like I get that you weren't like trying to like steamroll or like change the scene or like make it about you. It was just in the moment you were so excited, and when you get so excited, some things just kind of are like, I'm so excited to be here. I forgot where I was now that I'm on stage, but I'm so excited to be here with you. And so I think that that's something to think about too. Is there's a difference between getting up and forgetting something and just getting so excited about it that there's like a mix of characters or a mix of like POVs or whatever, versus someone who's like, this scene is, you're gonna be grandma because that's what I want you to be in this scene. Forget that I just called you Steve and you were the dad. You're gonna be grandma because I'm gonna be whoever. And like I think that there's a difference. So I love the way that you put that, of like I was just excited to get out there and play, that I just got in the moment and just was like, whoops. So that's great. But that being said, what do you love about improv? What keeps you coming back to improv and staying consistent with improv?
Well, timestamp this, but nothing anymore because we're not.
Yeah, right.
Because like, as like a social art form, if you could call it that, I will call it that. As a social art form, part of what makes it so much fun is that you're hanging out with your friends and you get to perform with. It's like being in a band. Although in the case of improv, it's like Steven Tyler never shows up for your concert, and it's like you wouldn't go to see a band unless it was the band. But in improv, we're so much looser with the fact that people can just show up or not show up depending on when they want to perform or not. But you just get to have fun with your friends, and like that moment where, I just got so excited that I wanted to be out there with you. That should be the feeling that you have in every scene. Because, some of the worst shows are the ones where you're sitting on the sideline going, I don't want to be anything. I don't want to have anything to do with this scene. I don't want to do anything with this character or this performer at this moment. And you can feel that tension in the audience. I think the audience is very, is very in tune with what's going on stage, and they can kind of see those kind of stress points. But I think that for me, improv is not just fun. It's also a tool. So I feel less sharp when I'm not doing a lot of improv. I feel less sharp when I'm doing too much improv. So you've got to find that balance between, you know, not enough and too much. It's like drinking water, Spencer. It's like you got to drink enough water. You can't drink too much.
Yeah, because you can get water poisoning and you can die from drinking too much water. Like exactly. A necessity of life.
The most basic substance on earth.
Yeah, right. You bring up a great point, and I've mentioned this before, but the idea of like, you know, you can do too much improv. And I've had that happen where I'm like, oh, I've got to learn all this improv. So I'm taking like 5 or 6 classes at once of just like improv, sketch, comedy, musical improv, all this stuff at different schools, different places, all different philosophies. And I was like, this is going to be great. I'm immersing myself in improv. And I got to the point where I was like, I don't remember anything that I did the last week. I don't remember where I'm going today. I just felt like I was so bad at improv because I was just overloading myself with improv. And so then the next term I was like, I'm just not going to do any improv. I'm just like, forget it. I'm not going to even go to improv class. I'm not going to practice improv. And I went to an improv audition, and the feedback I got was my improv audition was better than it was the last time. They're like, keep doing what you're doing. And I went, I didn't even do anything. I literally did no improv. And it made me realize that because I just took a break, I was able to like process everything and like get some more lived experience that I was able to use. Because if my lived experience is just going to improv classes like day and night, I'm not getting any other actual lived experience to put into improv. And so I think that's a great point of the fact that you can always do too much improv at any given time.
Yeah,
you burn out. You're thinking. You're constantly thinking and creating. And most, like, it's like a writer's block for an improviser. It's like eventually you just hit a wall where you're like, this is just, I can't think of anything. My scenes are the same every day, day in, day out. They're like, I played grandma on Monday, I played grandma today, I played grandma last week. And it's like, there's too many of the same scenes.
Yeah, I think you were right. And anytime I like teach a workshop or something, or I'm talking to people about, you know, oh, your improv feels stagnant. Not that people are just often coming to me for improv advice, but if you'd like to, you can find me out there. I'll give it.
But beard advice.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. Yeah. Oh yeah. They look at this beard and they're like, I want that.
He's got a lot of wisdom behind him.
Yes, exactly. So that's the thing, is a great point you make. And I try to reiterate that point all the time. Is like, go get life experience. Some of the best improv teachers I've ever heard from are like, go live life. You're going to be a better improviser because of it. Read a book, listen to radio that you wouldn't normally listen to, not for pop culture references, but just to expose yourself to stuff that other people are being exposed to and that you wouldn't normally expose yourself to. Go try something new, use that yes and philosophy from improv and apply it to your life, because, you know, if you get the opportunity to take the ride, get in. And it's the same thing with your scene partners. You know, if they present you something, treat it as a gift, even if it sucks, you know. But that's kind of like life. It's like getting your car stolen is not a fun experience, but it is an experience. And it's something that now has changed you as a human and as a person and as a performer. And now you have very specific things to bring into your scene work. You know, drive different types of cars. I love driving other people's cars. They don't want me to, but I'll try it. And no one drives my car. So, you know, getting into different models of vehicles and things like that helps for, I love object work. And so being so precise, so you know how a manual transmission works, or, you know, how a 3 on the tree is going to affect your improv character work. I think it's all important, and it infuses itself, makes you more interesting character and person. You're more interesting to talk to when you have something to talk about that isn't the improv class that you took again.
Yeah. Yeah, or like what you had for dinner, which can on its own also be a very fascinating thing of what you had for dinner.
Yeah, pick something else on the menu, even if it's bad, you got something to talk about. You know?
There are people that have like dinner, and there are people that are like breakfast for dinner kind of situation, you know, like pancakes and eggs and bacon. And sometimes that just like hits the spot at 6 o'clock on a Tuesday night for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Or like spaghetti for breakfast because I'm just feeling something real solid at 10 a.m. Which 10 a.m. for some people is lunch if you go to bed at like 4 o'clock. Like, I mean,
exactly.
It is like this, like with improv, it is that there are so many options of one thing. The variables are infinite of this one thing. Like if I say, okay, it's dinner time, literally dinner can be anything at this point. So it can
eat what you want.
Exactly.
Eat what feels right. That's the recommendation.
Exactly. Do you have any like plugs or pitches or anything that you want to throw out into the ether?
I mean, I have no new or active projects to throw out there. I'm at Down in the Well everywhere on the internet. So if you are looking, if you want to see what pictures of food I take, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter and stuff like that. And I usually communicate what I want people to see. I've made a couple of movies that I want people to see. So if you're on Amazon Prime, you can find Spaghetti Man and Cop Chronicles, Loose Cannons, Legend of the Hajj Mirage on Amazon Prime. You can search my name in Amazon. You'll be able to find it. These are older movies, a few years old now at this point, but we're pretty happy and proud of them. So if you wanted to, if people out there wanted to be like, what's this guy like? That's a great way to introduce yourself to me, is to watch those movies on repeat from now until forever. So
my question is, are those sans beard or with beard?
With beard. There has been, honestly, Spencer, at this point, there are very few people in my life besides my parents and my sister and my girlfriend who have known me without a beard. There are very few people, especially in the improv community, because one of the homes that I found in LA was a small theater on the West Side called the Improv Space. And that was where I've done most of my work, great and otherwise. And a lot of the people that were affiliated and associated with that improv theater were one of the first to experience me without a beard, and that theater is no longer in existence. So it's with that goes with a lot of those sort of casual relationships that you have. And so the year of the non-beard has come to a close. So maybe one day I'll not have a beard, and then people will remember me with the beard. How about that? What a strange coincidence that would be, is people just
maybe
thinking,
one day.
I do have a driver's license photo from like my, I don't know, like 21 or 25 or something like that without a beard. And I do whip it out every once in a while, and people are like, what? How is that even you?
Time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I just recently got a California license. I upgraded from Florida to the real ID, whatever. And they weren't like preparing me that I was going to, like, there's a whole process. So I went one day to do some stuff, but they ended up just taking the picture that day, and I wasn't planning on it happening. So I have like really like long sideburns and like really meshy hair. I'm like, this is what I got, I guess, at this point.
That's what you're going to be looked at. That's how you're going to, I'm pissed because they cropped out. I went to a DMV and I had it all planned out. I was going to have a really sweet picture with like my beard all crazy and styled, not crazy. And they cropped it out. I think that they were like having an especially bad day, and they cropped it out. So I have like a really weird photo of like, it starts here and ends up here. It's like not even regulation. If I get pulled over, I'm going to have problems because they're not going to believe it's real. But my ID prior to that, the guy was like, hey, if I can plug something, Pasadena, DMV, it was great. I got it on a recommendation. There was never a line apparently, and there wasn't this day. And the dude let me comb out my beard. So I have a really wild photo from my expired ID, and the dude was encouraging it. He's like, I'm going to make sure you get a good photo. I was like, this is the type of person we need in the world. Someone that's willing to help you out. There's no risk to him. Let me have fun, dude. And he did. And this other person was a real stick in the mud, if I could say so myself.
That's amazing. I also would recommend Culver City DMV because after 6 months of going around trying to get a driver's license, being told I had to take the vision drive test and this and that, I went to Culver City and they told me I was above the threshold to actually have to take that test. So when I was in the seat of the car ready to take the test, they're like, you don't have to take this test. And I was like, okay, cool. 6 months later, I'm being told that. Awesome. But
they just wanted to see if you were willing to do it. They just want to see, like, hey, is this guy going to do it or not? And then you did. You sat down, you passed the test. So.
Yeah, exactly. I was ready. The test was that
that was the test all along.
Yeah, exactly. Well, anyways, here on the Improv Summit DMV edition, I just wanted to thank you, Benjamin, for joining me here. I have one final question for you, and that's the reason that the Improv Summit exists. Now, prior to pandemic, but even with Zoom making improv even more accessible to everyone from everywhere in the world, people would always come up to me and say, Spencer, you do a lot of improv. Where should I take improv? And I was just always like, I don't know how to answer that question because there are so many factors to it. But if someone came up to you and said, oh, where should I take improv? What would be one piece of advice or one tidbit that you'd give to someone to help guide them on their improv journey?
Hit me up on my Venmo at Down in the Well. I'll teach you everything you need to know about improv, straight out of every book that's written. That's actually a really interesting and challenging question now, Spencer, because as one would know, your options are now becoming more limited, which I think don't misquote me on this or misinterpret this, but I think it might be a good thing, hopefully, for the art form, where we are condensing your opportunities, which means it makes your opportunities more valuable. So there was a moment in time where the improv was spread so thin, you could do improv multiple times a night at multiple different locations, which was cool, very cool, but it severely limits the opportunity for exposure. The less places to go hopefully makes the performances more meaningful for the performers and the audience alike, and makes people care about the art form even more. Maybe that's a little cynical in a way, because I don't know if I'm going to get stage time in a post 2021 world, where before I got a lot of stage time. So we'll see how that plays out. My recommendation now at this point would just be find somebody who authentically seems to care about what they're working with on you. And if you have anything specific you want to learn, like, just ask, because I think that what is missing from this art form, I think in a lot of cases, is the fun, and a lot of people have like lost that spirit or that spark of what made them want to do it in the first place, which was basically fun. There is no money, or there's no, notoriety necessarily in improv. So find the people that are doing it for the fun of it, and you're probably going to get the most out of it, because, otherwise, what else? Really authentically, what other reason is there to do it other than, like, I do think it's a valuable tool. But yeah, find people that are just, in it to have a good time. That would be my recommendation.
Yeah, I love it. Have fun. That's I'll say it once, I'll say it again. Have fun. Well, yeah, thanks again for joining me here on the Improv Summit. As always, I always say that's the last question, but again, I'm a big old liar on this show, and I actually have another question for you.
Okay.
My question is, we've been talking a lot about improv. You want to do some improv?
No. Just kidding. I'm a liar too. I would love to do some improv with you, Spencer.
What? Liar versus liar? No, it's just liar. Never mind.
I'm sure
anyway,
I'm sure no one ever pulls that fast one on you on this show. I'm sure.
No, never once has happened. No one's ever left the room when they've said no.
I didn't commit. I'm gonna get so many hack comments in the comment section, but I don't like
one more. Do you want to try one more time?
No edits. Okay. I want this thing to be all natural. I live with this type of stuff. I want people to know that it's okay to not commit to your bit. That's what I want people. I want people to realize that this is okay. Everyone does it.
And then accept that you didn't commit to the bit.
Exactly. Own it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Own it. It makes you who you are.
All right. Well, let's do some improv.
All right. Let's do it.
What I need from you is the answer to this question. Would you like a location, a relationship, or a word?
Oh boy, a relationship sounds good.
Great. I'm going to give you two, and then you pick the one you want.
Okay.
The suggestions are a babysitter and a new mom, or a forger and a crime boss.
Okay, I like forger and a crime boss.
Great. Who's going to? We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll work it out.
Let's just do it. Who would you like to initiate this scene?
Forger and a crime boss. You can initiate, Spencer.
Great. All right, let's do it.
Let's do it.
I see the fingerprints. I do see the fingerprints, indeed. Fingerprints. There are fingerprints right here on this piece of paper.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right.
Yeah. I do see them. I do indeed see them.
Yeah. And they're real, right? They're real? Those are real?
I mean, they're fingerprints. They are fingerprints.
Can't fake those. Can't fake those.
You can fake them.
Nah.
You can't fake them.
Nah, they'd have to have fake fingers to fake those.
There is something called fake fingers.
Fake fingers? Fake fingers, Louie? That little shithead down on the corner?
I was thinking of fake fingers Fred, but I guess we got more than one, huh?
No, this town is full of fake fingers. God dang it, I didn't the one thing I didn't think of is you could fake a finger. I thought it was just a misnomer.
These are all forged. They're all fake.
They're all fake. Every one of those fingers. Every one of those fingers is forged.
You know what I'm gonna do with these fake fingers?
What are you gonna do?
Ripped up that sheet of paper.
Tore it up.
Do it again.
Just tearing it up. Tearing it up, throwing it away, crumpling it up, tossing it in the trash can.
Yeah. No more fake fingers.
Huh.
No more fake fingers, McGee. No more fake fingers, Fred. No more fake fingers, the other guy.
Huh. You're an idea man. Getting rid of the trash. That's why I like you.
So you know what I need for the crime scene though is I need your real fingerprints because I need to fingerprint you as being at the scene of the crime.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. They'll never suspect a real finger on the crime. Oh, with a neighborhood full of fake ass fingers, they're never going to suspect a real finger. They're going to go right to those fake ass finger guys, fake ass Freddy, fake ass Frankie, fake ass Fingy, and they're going to, yeah, sure. Give me here.
Oh, all right, here.
I just happen to have my ink pad. So here you go.
Yeah, I just happen to have another sheet of paper. Just stick it right in there.
Good. Just kind of mash it in there, roll it around, just make sure you get it. Yeah, this is
great.
Oh yeah, those look authentic.
They are authentic. They're your real fingerprints. So I just want to confirm that you were the one at the scene of the crime committing the crime of the murder.
I want them to write about me in the newspapers. If they don't write about me in the newspapers, then who will know how much influence I have?
So you're saying that you murdered the person in the scene of the crime?
I'm not saying it, but I do want the rags to say it. They're gonna print it all across the web, all across the papers. I want them to put it everywhere.
Did you do it?
I want them to say I did it. I want them to say I did it. I want the evidence to say I did it. I want the newspapers to say I did it. I want the media to run it everywhere.
Was that the axe that's on your wall? Is that the axe from the scene of the crime?
This one.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
Can I take a look at it? Yeah, can I take a look at it? Thank you. I'm just going to do a little quick.
That's an ash handle, by the way. That's an ash handle. It's been double linseed oil. Well taken care of. That can last forever.
See this?
Yeah.
See your fingerprints?
Yeah.
I'm gonna put them right next to the other fingerprints.
All right. That's evidence. That evidence is stacking up. Nah, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Put the fingerprints next to that. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I never would have thought about that. No one ever thinks about that.
Yeah, so your fingerprints are on the axe.
Exactly. It's what a ruse. What a ruse. No one will ever suspect it. No one will ever suspect it. Yes. King of crime. Oh, king of crime. Now I think about it. Now that I think about it. Yeah, put some of my blood in there too. You want some blood?
Yeah, I would actually.
I'll give you some blood.
Just pour it right into my hand.
Yeah, all right. There you go. Take a little blood.
Great. Let me just put a little bit on there.
Hey, by the way, there's more where that came from. Okay. I got gallons of the stuff.
So you did the guy in.
I want him to think so.
And see. Great. All right. Thanks ever so much for coming to the Improv Summit. I'm Spencer. That's Ben. See you next time. Bye.
Thanks for having me, Spence.